Happy Father's Day. Today I'm going to be discussing the Holy Triad. But before I do, I'd like to thank everyone here and online and on YouTube for your continued support, not only for your donations, but also for your interest. Your comments inspire us to continue. Today we are discussing the Holy Triad. We need a lot of information and instruction to understand this. It will create some real orientation from your soul to realize the teaching of the Holy Triad, and also to awaken deep aspiration within you to lead you to the Holy Triad, gradually and slowly. So because we don't have a whiteboard here this morning, try to visualize this. Try to visualize a diagram of the divine, monadic, atmic, intuitional planes, the higher mind, the lower mind, the astral, the etheric, physical, and your physical brain. Not your physical body, but your physical brain. The Holy Triad begins at the higher mental plane. There's a deva there, and that deva is called the mental permanent atom. Now, we are told that the teachers did not want to reveal this to us in the past, but slowly, through instruction, the masters revealed the real nature of these permanent atoms. Permanent atoms are formed by advanced, fiery devas. The devas for the mental permanent atom live in your mental body. That is why you have to watch your mental body. Average people are living like machines. They do not know what is in them. But we have devas forming our permanent atoms which are within ourselves. So we have a mental deva. We also have a Buddhic deva, which is a very advanced deva living in Buddhic substance. Mental substances are like icing compared to Buddhic substances, which are like a gas. For example, the atoms of our mental plane take the first initiation, then the second, then the third, and the fourth initiations. And when that atom, the mental atom, goes to the fifth initiation at its own level, it then enters into the Buddhic plane. Now I'm going to pause a minute just to help you understand this is a very advanced Sunday talk. I really thought several times about whether it would be appropriate to share it or not today, and I decided to do so. And this is why. Many years ago, and I was studying astrology, and I would go to every conference I could afford to attend, and I would never go to beginning classes. I had, I can learn these beginning things in the books. I want to learn from advanced teaching. Let me go to the teachers that know the advanced teaching. So when I'm ready, it won't be brand new to me. It'll be something I've heard before, and it will resonate with me. So that's what I'm doing today, is to sharing a very advanced teaching, very beautiful teaching with you. But also the next 2 Sundays, the upcoming Sunday lectures, will also be referring a little bit to the Devas. So this means you're going to begin to assimilate more and more, and pretty soon this will not be a new teaching to you, it will be an old teaching. And once it becomes an old teaching, it's going to take you deeper into understanding evolution, your own personal evolution and the evolution of humanity. So let me move on. So the atoms that are formed in the Buddhic plane are masters in themselves from the mental plane. Okay, so if the Buddhic atom advances and becomes a 5th degree initiate on its own plane, now it becomes an atmic atom. This process is how the Devas are initiated. If you take one atom, you will see that one permanent atom has 7 spirals. The first spiral opens, the second spiral opens, the third spiral opens. Now it is an advanced atom in the mental plane. When these 3 spirals open, now this atom becomes a permanent atom, and it becomes an advanced atom. When the 5th spiral opens, it goes into the intuitional plane. When the 6th spiral opens, the atom is in the atmic plane. This is a symbolic illustration of atomic initiations. What is so beautiful to realize is that every atom in our mental body is a Deva. Every single atom. The permanent atom in our mental body is the Deva that is controlling all other Devas. It is a group. That is why we say mental substance is Devic substance. They are all lives. Every atom is alive. I'm going to repeat this again and again until things go into your mind, because very soon false teaching will flood the world. And when you have this foundation, you will be able to throw false things away. The mental atoms are like you, living beings just like you. So let us say that we have a mental permanent atom and a mental body. A mental permanent atom and a mental body. One of you advances so far that you become an initiate to lead, to control, to guide the group. Let's say the group that's here today, those of you that are listening. That one becomes a permanent teacher in that group. The permanent atom. Permanent teacher, permanent atom. Now, when that person advances to the 5th degree initiation, it makes somebody else take their place. The atom travels to the intuitional plane now because it has enough power, enough potential, enough protection, and fire to enter into the intuitional plane. That's something to really think about, that it must have enough power, enough potential, enough protection, and enough fire to enter into the intuitional plane. Intuitional fire. There it mixes with intuitional atoms, then eventually makes its way and achieves mastery in the intuitional plane. Excuse me. So suppose a group is in the intuitional plane. One of you came and mixed with the group. And then suddenly we saw that you were towering over others. You graduated and became a Buddhic permanent atom. Now, if that atom advances to the 5th degree initiation in its own rank and in its own species, now it turns into an atmic permanent atom. So now you have 3 advanced atoms. One is in the mental plane, one is in the intuitional plane, and one is in the atmic plane. Suppose I am the mental permanent atom. I make contact now with the Buddhic permanent atom and the atmic permanent atom, the mental Buddhic atmic. And we form a triangular force of communication. We communicate now with the Holy Triad. So what do we have here now? The mental permanent atom, the Buddhic atmic atoms are formed by 3rd degree, 4th degree, 5th degree initiates. Are you with me? Okay. The atom is developing its intelligence in the mental plane. It's the mental permanent atom is developing its intelligence in the mental plane. That is why intelligence is so important. Some people have started to write books and articles saying that you don't need intelligence. In today's world, right here today, not in the past, but today, we have artificial intelligence thinking for us. This is going to make people space out, become mentally lazy, because it is easier to be unconscious than to be a thinker. But when this happens, the developing atom will no longer be developing its intelligence. And we need intelligence. This is why school is so important. Do not lose the chance to educate yourself, even if you are 90. Don't lose the chance to educate yourself. Do not become crystallized by your education, because half of it is going to be regressive until you move into the wisdom teaching and its progression. The highest mental atom develops intelligence and then enters the intuitional plane. In the intuitional plane, it develops the love aspect. The highest atom then initiates into the atmic plane and starts to develop the will aspect. They are devas advancing on the path of evolution. The atoms advance, and we have 3 devas here. These 3 devas are slowly communicating with each other and creating a vortex of energy at the center. In 3, 4, 5 incarnations, it's going to turn into your 3rd eye in etheric matter. This vortex will project out as an eye that is charged with intelligence and love and strength. Intelligence, love, and strength. Your etheric third eye. In the mental plane, we have billions of atoms, which means, think of this, billions of devas. Your mental body is built of deva substance, which means your mental atoms are all little devas. For example, 1 million bees accumulate with each other, and then they fly. That is your mental body. That is why you are thinking. Your thoughts are living entities. But it depends on what orientation you give to these entities, whether they are constructive or destructive. They are entities, and you created them. Already they are living. Now suppose one of your mental devas, in order to advance, engages in so much striving, meditation, discipline, and sacrifice. Sacrifice is forgetting your own interest. If you forget your interests, that's how we define sacrifice. One atom forgets its interests, strives, and aspires to what? Expand and unfold those spirals. One by one, the spirals of the atom opens. If it reaches the third spiral, it becomes on its own level in deva substance, a deva of the highest degree. When it becomes an initiate of the highest degree on the atmic level, then it becomes a permanent atom. Permanent. Not impermanent, but permanent atom. So you can think about the fact that your permanent atoms can also change because of those spirals. When they do, they give all their registration to the atom next in line, which comes and takes its place. The deva that occupies your emotional or mental body is from an advanced rank. You have advanced emotions and advanced thoughts. If you can just imagine now, it's like a wave of consciousness grabbing hold of humanity and separating out the most advanced ones, advanced because of their striving, because of their sacrificial service, because of their beauty and goodness and righteousness and joy and their ability to be free. So once these atoms develop themselves just like a human being, now it becomes a permanent individual. That individual then passes on what it knows to those other advancing atoms. Rather than voting for millionaires, see how I'm shifting gears here? Rather than voting for millionaires, we vote for the most illumined, the most enlightened, the most loving, advanced leader who is going to take humanity much more rapidly today than is happening today into the future, taking humanity in such a way that evolves into the future the way God designed us to evolve. It has nothing to do with how much money we have. It has to do with the principles and the advancing process and the striving process that takes place with these atoms. So slowly, slowly, that one atom, that permanent atom of the group prepares another atom to take its place. In the mundane world, and we so see this in the United States today, in our Senate and in our Congress, people do not want to give their chair to someone else. However, the real evolution is to prepare someone to take your place and release them to work on something else. Does it make sense? That first level initiate advances until it becomes a 5th degree initiate and comes to the Buddhic group of devas on that 5th plane, which is the Buddhic plane. When it comes to the place of the Buddhic permanent atom, it sees that the Buddhic permanent atom is preparing the place for the permanent atom next in line to take its place as the next Buddhic permanent atom. You do not know how difficult their computer function is. You think that atoms are just coming and going like this. To take that position requires graduation from, let's say, many atom universities. Then the Buddhic one prepares another atom to take its place, and it enters into the 6th initiation. When it enters into the 6th initiation, what does it do? It heads toward the Atmic plane. In the Atmic plane, the same procedure continues, one leaving and one taking its place. So we have 3 permanent atoms, the relationship which builds the Holy Triad. Now, if atoms strive too much, your soul feels like you are abstracted, that you don't have any contact there. This means that you must go forward in a harmonious development. So, for example, you take a meditation course, and the instruction is, read this book, read 10 paragraphs, then prepare yourself for meditation. Take 3 deep breaths, set aside everything going on around and about you. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Align yourself, take your consciousness up into the light of the mental plane. See, that light is going to connect with the Devic substance that's growing and advancing in your mental body. But only meditate for 5 minutes. Now, what's happening is you are slowly sublimating the substance of all of those bodies you imagined at the beginning of the talk today, sublimating, preparing them for transformation. The ultimate preparation for transformation leads to transfiguration. This is why we have reincarnation. But we want to reincarnate just by this continuous, ridiculous wheel that throws us back into the same place where we left off. We don't want that to happen. We want this harmonious development. So the teachings are here for us to follow, instructions to follow, instructions that were given to us by great teachers. And they say, if you follow these instructions, this will be the result. If you don't follow the instructions, that will be the result. Disharmony versus harmony. This is why we say that you should not start a meditation course, a seed thought meditation course, or a higher meditation course, unless you dedicate yourself to it in a most rhythmic manner. Rhythm is a very interesting subject to talk about. Maybe I'll do that some Sunday, to talk about rhythm and the importance of rhythm. Of course, you must have a higher body built to have these three devas that form the Holy Triad. But that is a privilege that you earn. That deva comes to you, and the deva asks you, are you ready? If you are ready, it will come. Your physical, emotional, and mental bodies are given to you by devas based on your striving. You are going to build them. So let me share a secret. Your solar angel has its higher mental, Buddhic, and Atmic bodies. Sometimes it takes you there and shows you the mechanism of your lower body. The angel says, those lower bodies are not you. You may feel that when you go to the fourth initiation, now listen to this carefully, that when you eventually go to the fourth initiation, that you are or have nothing. That you have nothing. That is why you say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Jesus was talking to his solar angel, but God does not leave anybody. God being everywhere and everything, he would not forsake you. A student asked me one day, can the permanent atom regress? And the answer is it may or it may not. For example, some of us regress. Some of us progress. Some of us have conflicts with each other. And the atoms reflect that, reflect those conflicts. The human soul has such a group of lives. Just think about this now. The human soul has such a group of lives. They may progress, they may regress. Some parts are advancing, and some parts are going backwards. Some are fighting. Some are really stupid. Some are sleeping. And maybe only 10 or 15 atoms are functioning. This is our mind. Our mind is what we have in our mind. That is our mind. What you have in your mind, some are fighting, some are comfortable, some are sleeping, and so forth. But a little group, maybe 10 or 15 atoms, are advancing. A little group is advancing. One of these advanced atoms is becoming the mental permanent atom. This is just like in business. If you advance, if you work in the university, you get to graduate. Then you're examined and you become a doctor or a philosopher and so on. You are going to strive to achieve something. But 1, 2, or 3 graduations of atoms do not make your mental body whole and complete if it is a broken mind. Go to hospitals, go to the asylums, go everywhere, and you will see that the human mind is totally disarranged and is in a miserable condition. Why is that? It is because the mental atoms in the mental body as a whole, the mental atoms in the mental body as a whole are not developed. You see? They are not developed. So how are you going to develop? Through 3 things: meditation, sacrifice, and renunciation. This is how we're going to develop all of these little millions of lives. These devas in our bodies through meditation, sacrifice. Meditation is going to develop them. Meditation will develop them. Sacrifice is going to advance them, and renunciation will graduate them. Your old self must die so that you have a new self. This is the most crucial point on the path of discipleship. When some permanent atoms advance, the rest may crack or degenerate. This is why there is a law in advancement that emphasizes harmonious advancement. Harmonious advancement. You develop yourself harmoniously. Follow those instructions. Just follow the instructions of meditation, sacrifice, renunciation, and you're going to develop yourself harmoniously. There should be no cracks or cleavages in you. If some atoms are overstimulated so much that they go crazy and do crazy things, your mind then cannot control these things. Now, this is interesting. It is not a rule that everybody advances together. If one person advances, it is not a rule that everybody must advance together with that one person. Sometimes your teacher's advancement brings disaster to you. And that's something I'm not going to talk about, but it's something to think about. Advanced disciples renounce their development. It's a very powerful statement. Advanced disciples renounce their development. They forget about it, in other words. They forget about it. They're only interested in your development, not their own. Some people come and say, well, I'm a 3rd degree initiate, or I'm a 5th degree initiate. And then they'll ask the teacher, what initiation are you? And the teacher will say, I'm nothing. Some people think that if some atoms advance, the others will follow. If you think scientifically, you will see what is happening. For example, you have somebody here to whom you're teaching, let's say, musical composition. And then suddenly you advance her. And then you find out that her motivation is dark. And she takes you to court and she sues you. The whole energy and attention you were giving her blew her out and destroyed her. Why? Because her heart was not clean. That is why the teacher says, we come now to a consideration of the ways and means whereby Maya can be ended, and the disciple stands free from the influence of physical plane force. Maya, as a recognized effect, is only experienced when one is upon the path and one is beginning the path of probation. That's when Maya grabs hold of our life. You mostly get the same atoms. Each life, because of the magnetic frequency of your soul, you mostly get the same atoms each life because of the magnetic frequency of your soul. For example, you have the note B, and at the time of incarnation, your solar angel is going to sound your frequency. And all atoms that are scattered all over the universe with that frequency will come back to you. You must know what you are feeding your mental permanent atoms. If you are putting into your permanent atoms confusion from A to Z, they will be totally confused. They have free will on their own level, but not on your level. They are totally different. They are little, minute lives, and they have their own laws and expansion, and so on. They can evolve, degenerate, or even die. Advancement is the ability to coordinate their evolution with our spiritual evolution. For example, if you are studying geometry, also study a little arithmetic. And in the meantime, strive towards spiritual illumination. This is balance and harmony. Mental devas are divided into 7 rays. You are going to feed them, giving them instruction on the 7 rays of development. This is what harmonious development means. You can say, I have 7 kinds of teachers, doctors, and so on. But they are all working for the same goal, the same one goal. Thus you unite them into one field of service. So I think that's enough. I highly recommend that you listen to the recording on YouTube later today or tomorrow, whenever you have time. Take those first few words that I said to visualize and create a diagram, or go into the teachings and find a diagram of these 7 planes of consciousness. And then go back into the lecture and make notes, take notes. I know some of you here were taking notes. Those notes will then anchor themselves in your mental permanent atom. This is education. We are educating these devas in our atomic substance. And pretty soon we're going to have this beautifully, holistically developed mental permanent atom, which is now ready to go into the higher planes. Okay, that's enough.